Hello and welcome everyone. In front of you is Sir Sheikh Bilal Haq, and in today's class what we will be doing, we will be going through, we have completed the innovation, performance management and change management, and in today's class we are going through the past paper question, and this past paper question will be dealt in today's class. So the question that arises into my mind is, before going through this video, you first need to make sure that you have completed the theoretical area of innovation and change management. You need to go through that area before going through this particular video. So it says that P3 December 2010 question number 1B, we are going through this question, and in this question I'm just highlighting this, and in this question basically it is the contextual features of change with the name of Shoal PLC, that is P3 December 2010 question number 1B. Now in this question the first thing is that we will be going through this question on our CBE format. Now this is the first time that I'm showcasing you the computer-based examination platform, and on this platform today we will be writing our answers, and not only we'll be writing, we'll also be getting ourselves familiar with this platform. Although this is a P1 and P3 past paper, so there is no perfect format being tested in this. However, we can go through the theoretical area first, and once we start doing the SBL examination, then we will be going through the practical part. So this question is of Shoal PLC, and this question basically relates to the examination of P1 and P3 past papers. Basically, when I say that I'm going to practice the SBL examination, the major amount of resources that I have is the previous version of SBL, that is P1 and P3, and one of the most important resources that we'll be going through at the end of the session or at the end of the syllabus will be the SBL examination or the SBL past papers. So let's look at this. The following information should be used when attempting question number 1. So which question are we going to attempt? Let's look. Okay, we will be attempting question number 1B. So we won't be going for the question number 1A, but we will be going through question number 1B. Let's look at this. Shoal PLC is a well-known corporate organization in fish industry. So it's an organization that is involved in fishing industry. It owns 14 companies concerned with fishing and related industries. So it's the ownership of the Shoal PLC includes 14 different countries. There are 14 different companies that this particular organization is owning. It owns 14 different companies concerned with fishing as well as related industries. So there are not only the fishing industry, they might go for backward integration or forward integration. This means that they might be selling the raw fish, they might be having the fish catch platforms as well, they might be having some boats, some ships and some fishermen for this stuff, and they might also have a retail outlet or a wholesale outlet where these fishes or any other particular thing related to this fish industry is being sold. So let's look at this. Let's look at the question. The scenario focuses on 3 different companies. Now we need to be very much familiar, we need to be very much vigilant when we are going through this question. This is one of the most what do I call it, as one of the most challenging questions as well as one of the most interesting questions that you will be go through. So Shoal Fish Limited, first thing is the Shoal Fish Limited, then we have the Shoal Pro Limited, and last but not the least we have the Shoal Farm Limited. So we have got 3 different companies: Shoal Fish Limited, Shoal Pro Limited and Shoal Farm Limited. As the name suggests, they might be having some fish farms as well. So Shoal Fish Limited says, let me use my marker, a fish fleet operating in the Western Ocean. So there are certain fishing fleets that are operating in the Western Ocean, and these fishing fleets will be used is the name of these fishing fleets is Shoal Fish Limited. Then we have Shoal Pro Limited. A company that is concerned with processing and canning of the fish. This means that the fish that is being caught from the Western Oceans, it is being canned and processed under Shoal Pro Limited. It seems to be a mobile phone company, right? The name seems to be a 11 Plus Pro. Okay, so let's move forward. Shoal Farm Limited as well. We have got Shoal Farm Limited as well, a company with saltwater fish farm. So what they do? They take out that saltwater fish, obviously from Western Ocean. They put those fish that are in the initial stages of their life into that farm, and they go for breeding of fish as well. This is what I assume by reading out the name of the fish and the structure, or by reading out the name of the company and what this company is currently operating at right now. So Shoal PLC is also finalizing the purchase of Captain Haddock chain of fish restaurants. So they are saying that Shoal PLC is basically finalizing the purchase of Captain Haddock chain of fish restaurants. Let's move forward. Shoal PLC formed Shoal Fish in 2002 when it bought 3 small fishing fleet. Initially they had 3 small fishing fleets and consolidated them into one fleet. The primary objective of the acquisition. Now you need to be very much familiar. How do we read one particular question? Because reading is also an art. For clearing this examination, it is not just that you write well in your exam, it is the fact that you need to read this question with an appropriate manner so that you will have a better objective of how the overall aim or overall objective of the organization is running, and consolidated them into one fleet. The primary objective of acquisition was to secure supplies for Shoal Pro. 40% of the fish caught by Shoal Fish are currently processed in the Shoal Pro factories. This means that around 40% of the fish that we are obtaining right now is being processed in Shoal Pro factory, and you need to know this very well. Shoal Pro factory was the processing and the canning of the fish. The rest are sold in wholesale fish market. Okay, so the rest are sold. This means that around 60% is being sold in the wholesale fish market. Shoal Fish has recorded modest profits since its formation, but it is operating in a challenging marketplace. The Western Ocean, where it operates, have suffered for many years of overfishing, and the government has recently introduced quotas in the attempt to conserve fish stock. So basically there are certain quotas that is being introduced in an attempt to conserve the fish stock. This means that they might be getting some subsidies, they might be getting some quotas in this regard. Shoal Fish has 35 boats, and it makes it the 6th largest fleet in the Western Ocean. Almost half of the total number of boats operating in the Western Ocean are individually owned and independently operated by boats captain. Recent information of Shoal Fish is given in figure number 1. Then we have that Shoal Pro, which is operating in the processing and the canning of the fish. Shoal Pro was acquired in 1992, far before than the Shoal Fishing Fleet, when Shoal PLC bought the asset of Tabanis Canning and Processing Company. Just after the acquisition of the company, the government declared the area around Tabanis a zone of industrial assistance. So this is something which is politically good for this particular company. Grants were made available to develop industry in an attempt to address the economic decline and high unemployment of the area. Shoal Pro benefited from these grants developing a major fish processing and canning capabilities in the area. However, despite the initiative and investment, unemployment in this area still remain above the average for the country as a whole. Shoal Pro, modern facilities and relatively low cost have made it attractive to many fishing companies. The fish received from shoal fish now accounts for a declining percentage of the total amount of the fish processed and canned in its factories in the Tabanis area. Recent information for Shoal Pro is given in figure number 1. Okay, so we have got information for Shoal PLC, for Shoal Farm, for Shoal Pro in figure number 1. So let's move forward. We have got the information about the Shoal Farm right now. Shoal Farm was acquired in 2004. This means that Shoal Fishing was acquired in 2002. Shoal Pro was acquired in 1992. Shoal Farm is acquired in 2004. This means that the origination of Shoal PLC started with Shoal Pro, where the canning and processing of the fishing is being done. Now they have gone for the backward and forward integration. That is, they will be buying their fishes. They will be catching their fishes from the Western Ocean, and this company surprisingly have become the 6th largest company or 6th largest fleet in the Western Ocean, as well as they will be having some farming facilities so as to provide maximum amount of fish in the case the Western Ocean is not able to provide that ample amount in order to fulfill the demand. So it says Shoal Farm was acquired in 2004 as a response by Shoal PLC to the declining fishing stock in the Western Ocean. See, I had told you before. It owns and operates a saltwater fish farm. These are in the areas of concern, close to the land where fish are protected from both fishermen and natural play, such as seabirds. Fish stock can be built up quickly and then harvested by the fish farm owners. Shoal PLC originally saw this acquisition as a way of maintaining the supply to Shoal Pro. So they wanted to cater the 40% demand of Shoal Pro. But operating costs at Shoal Farm have been higher than expected, and securing areas for the new fish farm has been difficult and has required greater investment than expected. Recent information of the Shoal Farm is given in figure number 1. So majority of the information is given in figure number 1. Now we need to have some financial analysis over it. So it says that the shoal fish, let me make this with 3 different colors. We have got shoal fish, then we have got the Shoal Pro, and then we have got the Shoal Farm. Now, shoal fish, turnover of market sector, turnover of shoal fish, and gross profit. So the total turnover in 2007 was $2,000 million of the entire market sector. This means that if I start calculating, it is around 12%. Same in 2008 and same in 2009 as well. Then it says that the gross profit for the shoal fish is continuously declining. It's in a declining phase. Declining of gross profit. And we need to know the reasons as well. Now if we move towards the Shoal Pro, the gross profit is in inclining position. The gross profit is in inclining position. Inclining gross profits. Turnover of market sector is 40, 40 and 40 once again. Turnover of Shoal Pro is increasing, and obviously their gross profit is also increasing. Then we have the Shoal Farm, and the Shoal Farm says the turnover of the market sector is 10, 11 and 12. Turnover of Shoal PLC is 1, 1.1 and 1.12, and the gross profit Initially, the gross profit was initially the same. Initially, the same in first 2 years, and then it increased by 0.01, which is a very slight increase, obviously, but yes, it's an increase, so we should highlight this. Now, the financial data on individual companies from 2007 and 2009. Captain Haddock. Now, who was Captain Haddock? Now, I don't remember about Captain Haddock. So, what I can do is I can always go back to this question. This is a strategy that you can follow in your real examination as well, and I can relate to a line which it says Shoal PLC is also finalizing the purchase of the Captain Haddock chain of fish restaurants. So they are going for the fourth one. They're going for the fourth one. Let's look at this. Why are they going for the fourth one? And is it something which is viable or something which we may call a foolish approach? Captain Haddock. The Captain Haddock chain of restaurant was founded in 1992 by John Dory. It currently operates 130 restaurants. This means that there are around 130 restaurants available. So we are about to go for this restaurant chain maybe. It currently operates 130 restaurants in the country, serving high quality of fish meal. Much of Captain Haddock's success has been built on the quality of its food and services. Captain Haddock has a tradition of recruiting staff directly from schools and universities and providing them with excellent training in the Captain Haddock's Academy. The Academy ensures that employees are aware of the Captain Haddock's way. So the Academy ensures that the employees are aware of the Captain Haddock's way, and is dedicated to the continuation of the quality services and practices developed by John Dory. When he launched the first restaurant, all management posts are filled by recruiting from within the company, and all members of the Captain Haddock board originally joined the company as trainees. In 1999, the Prime Minister of the country identified Captain Haddock's Academy as an example of high quality in-service training. In 2000, Captain Haddock has become one of the 30 best regarded brands of the company. In the past few years, the financial performance of Captain Haddock has declined. This is something alarming. You are still going for purchase of such a company whose financial performance has declined over the past few years. And the company is facing difficulties, and the company has had difficulty in meeting its bank covenants. So company is going into difficult situation. They are not able to meet their bank covenants. Let's see. This decline is partly due to economic recession in the country and partly due to disastrous diversification into the commercial real estate and currency dealing. The chairman and managing director of the company both resigned. The chairman and the managing director of the company both resigned 9 months ago as a result of concern over the breaking of banking covenants and shareholders' criticism of the diversification policy. Some of the real estate bought during this period is still owned by the company. In the last 9 months, the company had been run by an interim management team while looking for the prospective buyer. At restaurant level, employees' performance still remain relatively good and the public still highly rate this brand. However, at a recent meeting, one of the employee representatives called for a management that can effectively lead employees who are increasingly demoralized by the decline of the company. Shoal PLC is currently finalizing their takeover of the Captain Haddock business. The company is being bought for a notional of $1 on the understanding that $15 million is invested into the company to meet the short-term cash flow problems. and to improve the liquidity. Shoal PLC assessment is that there is nothing fundamentally wrong with the company and that the current financial situation is caused by the failed diversification policy and the cost of financing this. The gross profit margin of the sector averages to be 10%. So the gross profit margin of the sector is 10%. Captain Haddock currently buy its fish and fish product from wholesalers. So Captain Haddock is currently buying its fish and the fish products from the wholesalers. It is the intention of Shoal PLC to look at sourcing most of the dishes and ingredients from its own companies. Specifically Shoal PLC, Shoal Pro and Shoal Farm. Strategic change once the takeover is complete, and this should be within next month, so they have given the deadline as well. Shoal PLC intend to implement significant strategic change at Captain Haddock's so that it can return to profitability as soon as possible. Shoal PLC has implemented strategic change at a number of its acquisitions. So they have implemented some strategic change at a number of its acquisitions. The company explicitly recognizes that there is no one right way. There is no one right way to manage change. It believes that the success of any planned change program depends on the understanding of context in which the change is taking place. Captain Haddock turnover has declined significantly in the last 2 years. Although in 2007 as well, the Captain Haddock's gross profit was not so sustainable, yet it was a profit in 2007. Financial information of Captain Haddock 2007 till 2009. Now I'm not reading the first part of the question. I'm just going through the second part so that we can solve the second part of the question. Shoal PLC explicitly recognizes that there is no one right way to manage change. It believes that the success of any planned change program will depend on clear understanding of the context within which the change will take place. Identify and analyze using an appropriate model. So you need to use an appropriate model, the contextual feature that will influence how change management should be managed at Captain Haddock's. Professional marks are available for identifying and justifying. This means that the professional marks are available for identifying and justifying of an appropriate model. You need to think of what model we will be applying. I'm not letting you know right now what model we will be applying. Once I start writing my answer, then you'll have to know what model we will be applying. Once the acquisition is complete, Shoal PLC wish to quickly turn around Captain Haddock and return it to profitability. Identify and analyze the main elements of strategic change required to achieve this goal. Now, professional marks will be awarded in part B2 for cogency of the analysis and for the overall relevance of the answer to the case study and scenario. So this means that we need to analyze in the situation and we need to merge it with the scenario that is being given. Now, my piece of advice right now to you will be that you need to go on to Google and search for SBL practice platform. On that SBL practice platform, there will be a platform that is being given to you in which you can select blank workspace. The workspace that you will be selecting is the workspace that I have showcased you in front of you. Normally what will happen in this workspace, let's get familiar to this blank workspace, then I will be solving some SBL examination at the end of the session by using this workplace as well, and we will be solving all our practice question on this workplace. So I guess the previous question I had written it with my stylus, but now I have decided to go through the blank workplace so that we can get into it. So obviously there are certain exhibits that are being given to you. The following exhibits are available on the left hand side of the screen, provide information relevant to the question. This is the background text of the question, it outlines the exhibits that you will be available to review in order to answer the task. This can be listed like so. For example, we have got exhibit 1, exhibit 2 and exhibit 3, etc. The information should be used to answer the question task within the response options that are available. So there are different types of exhibits that are being given. For example, we have been given with exhibit number 1, we have been given with exhibit number 2, we have been given with exhibit number 3. And along with these exhibits, there are certain requirements as well, and you need to fulfill those requirements. And then we have got 3 different types of response where you can give 3 different types of responses. The first is word processor. So if you are writing a report, if you are writing, let's suppose if you are writing a report, if you are writing a memo, if you are writing a PID, project initiation document, or anything that you can write on the Word, you will be using this specific response option. And in the question that we are doing right now, that is Shoal PLC, we will be going through this specific option. Then we have that spreadsheet as well. What do you mean by spreadsheet? By spreadsheet, I mean all the calculative part will be showcased in the spreadsheet. Only thing that you need to do, you need to write the question number and the part of the question. And last but not the least, you will be required to make some presentation slides. You will be going through those presentation slides in the slide areas. We will be going through this slide area and how to make these slides at the end of the day. See, I can just show you what word processor look like. How does the spreadsheet initiates or it looks like, and last but not the least, the slide area where the presentation slide and the speaker note are being given. So this is the area where you will be working now. I can showcase you this area and I will also be working on the same area. So my request to you all is to give a pause to this video, start writing the answer, and then return back and look at my answer. Okay, so I guess you must have written the answer to this question. Now let's just quickly go through the answer that I have written. You must have paused this video and you must have written the answer. So all those who have still not written the answer, I would request you to please write your answers first and then return back to this video. Pause the video for the time being, open your platform, start writing your answer, allocate time accordingly. For example, you will be allocating 1.8 minutes for the answer. I can show you how much minutes you can allocate. It means that 13 plus 2, 15 and 8 plus 2, 10. 25 marks question multiplied by 1.5 minutes. So you can write your answer in this format. Okay, so let me quickly showcase you my answer. But the fact before I show you my answer, it took an extra time in writing this answer because I want to make this answer to be comprehensive one, right? So I've written the answer. Rather than me wasting time in writing the answer, typing it in front of you, I decided to write it by my own. Once I've completed the video, I decided to stop my video, write the answer, and then return back to you. So it says that Shoal PLC recognizes that there is no one right way to manage the change. Okay, the question was, identify the analysis of using an appropriate model, the contextual feature that will influence how strategic change should be managed at Captain Haddock. Professional marks are available for part B1 for identifying and justification of an appropriate model. So we need to identify, we need to apply the appropriate model. Let's look at this. Shoal PLC recognizes that there is no one way to manage the change. Okay, so this is the starting point of my answer. I guess you will be listening and at the end of the day you will be giving me good marks, right? The success of any planned change program will depend upon an understanding of the context in which the change will take place. Belgin and Hope Hillary have been highlighted a number of important contextual features. So I picked up this model. I identified this model. And obviously it was a very obvious model that need to be applied. Features that needed to be taken into account when deciding the change program. Those features are used on the basis of the model answer. So I'm using this answer, I'm using these features, but if you can relate to any other specific model that can apply to this question, the examiner says that he will be awarding you marks on that particular model as well. Shoal PLC has little time to complete the acquisition and affects, Shoal PLC have little time to complete the acquisition and affect the strategic change necessary. The decline in Captain Haddock's turnover and profits is increasing dramatically. The resignation of the chairman and management director of the company was triggered by the concern about breaking bank covenants. If Shoal PLC does acquire Captain Haddock's, then strategic change will have to be implemented quickly. Shoal PLC will need to put into place policies that helps them to preserve the aspects of Captain Haddock's that need to be retained for future success. Change is usually easier if there is a diversity of experience, views and opinion within the organization. This is not discernible at Captain's Haddock. The suggestion is that most employees are recruited directly from school or university and then remains within the Captain Haddock's training program as they progress through the company. There is very much a policy of recruit from below. In such circumstances, it is unlikely that norms and practices will be challenged within Captain Haddock. There appears to be little experience of such change. Indeed, the preservation of established norms and practices was the focus of management and the supporting training. In contrast, Shoal PLC have experience of managing change, and this is a major capability that it should bring to Captain Haddock. However, it has to be recognized that this capability has been tested in the restaurant sector, and Shoal PLC will have to be sure that the capability is applicable in this sector. So what we are doing is we are picking up a model, we are showcasing the issues, and we are applying that model that we have already adopted in restaurant industry and merging it to the current norm. The capacity of the organization for change consider the resources, the restaurant sector and Shoal PLC will have to be sure that the capability is applicable to this sector. The capacity of an organization for change consider the resources that are available to support change. Change may be costly, both in real financial terms and management time. Captain Haddock has little capacity for change from its own resources. So this is again something that Shoal PLC will bring to the company. See, I'm just analyzing the situation. If the situation is bad, my terminology is not reflecting that the situation can go bad. Rather, it is just giving us an overview that okay, this thing needs to be highlighted, but the ultimate decision will be in the hand of Shoal PLC. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just analyzing the situation. I'm just trying to give you the situation and applying the model there and then. So this is again something that Shoal PLC will bring to the company. Substantial investment will not be required to improve the Captain Haddock's financial position in terms of fulfilling the bank covenants, but also to finance the change program necessary within the company. There appears to be little doubt that Captain Haddock is ready for change. Haddock can be reviewed in the context of the model, that is scope of change and nature of change. Now, there can be four different types of change. It may be a realignment, it may be a transformational change, it may be an incremental, or it may be a big bang change. Realignment is a small change, incremental is a gradual change, transformational is a huge change, and big bang is a particular sector being changing. So we might go for the realignment, and incremental means we are going for adaptation strategy. The transformation and incremental means we are going for the evolution. The realignment and big bang means reconstruction, and last but not the least, the transformational and big bang means revolution. Adaptation is change that can be accommodated within the current paradigm and can be introduced incrementally in the organization. So This is a change which can be accommodated easily, which can be accommodated easily and can be introduced incrementally within the organization. Reconstruction is a change that may be rapid and create. So it's a rapid change. Reconstruction is a rapid and create upheaval in the organization, but which does not fundamentally change the underlying paradigm. So it's a rapid change. It's a change that need to be assessed very quickly, but this change will not have a transformational impact. Evolution is a change that does require a paradigm change, but one that can be introduced over time. You can introduce such a change over time. This change keeps on moving. With time, this change keeps on happening and it will not have a huge impact. Revolution is a change that requires rapid change. So this is a change which requires rapid change associated with a change in paradigm. It's a rapid change, it's a big change, it's a huge change. So you need to have a very good analysis on this type of change, and reconstruction appears to be fit in the situation as at Captain Haddock's. So you need to reconsider, you need to reconstruct some of the areas of Captain Haddock's organization, and then you will be following a reconstructional type of change. This part of the question can be answered. Now we are going for the second part in a number of ways. So the second part was, once the acquisition is complete, Shoal PLC wished to quickly turn around Captain Haddock and return it to profitability. Identify and analyze the main element of strategic change required to achieve this goal. Professional marks are available for analyzing and the overall relevance to the scenario that is being given. So it says that this part of the question can be answered in a number of ways and all legitimate approaches will be given a credit. However, it is suggested that the answer should consider focusing on the profitability and the core activities. You need to consider that you are going for the profitability, you are going for the core activities, you are looking at the profitability of the company, you are looking at the profitability as well as the financial restructuring of the company. First, it says divesting non-profitable or ill-fitting activities. You need to divest. Divest means you need to disinvest, you need to discontinue. You can outsource it, but remove all those non-profitable activities. Changing the senior management, obviously this was very obvious. You are about to change the senior management. Obviously the senior management has already resigned, and there was a mid-term management that has taken over. Effective stakeholder management means the stakeholders should be effectively managed, and financial reconstruction and the financial restructuring, you need to look at the financials of the company as well in order to facilitate the company in a far better situation. The model answer uses the structure suggested by Johnson, Scholes and Withington for implementing the turnaround strategies. However, change required quickly, but there is no need to radically change what the organization is doing. There is a need for a realignment of strategy rather than fundamental change of strategic direction. It has already been recognized in the previous answers that Captain Haddock required reconstruction. So I have already recognized this, that okay, the Captain Haddock requires a reconstruction. You need to go for the reconstruction areas. This is often associated with the turnaround situation where there is a need of structural change to deal with a decline in the financial performance and changing market condition. Thus, Shoal PLC should be aware of some of the main elements of turnaround strategies, as they will need these if they acquire Captain Haddock. These main elements could form the basis of a strategy for change to return the company to profitability. Now, what are the elements? The change strategy might commence with crisis stabilization, with a short-term focus on cost reduction and a revenue increase. One of the synergies identified by Shoal PLC, the provision of fish directly to Captain Haddock's restaurant, should aid the cost reduction. So this is something which I can relate to the situation. These marks are available if you can relate to the situation. There is evidence that focusing on reducing operational cost is a significant factor in successful turnaround strategies. You are about to move a 360 degree, you are going for a 360 degree strategy, you need to go for a successful turnaround strategy. So what you need to do, you need to reduce the operational cost. Implementing management change at the top level, you need to change the management at the top level, because if you are changing the management at the top level, ultimately this will have a good sign. The resignation of chairman and managing director of Captain Haddock has already facilitated this. Their resignation will also support the reduction of the cost. The reduction of the cost of senior management is further a characteristic of a successful turnaround strategy. Now you don't need to write all these points. Obviously the question is of 8 marks, so 4 points will do your work. Then gaining stakeholders support. There are 2 marks for 1 point. Then gaining stakeholder support. It is vital that the key stakeholders are kept informed during the change process. A clear assessment of the power of different stakeholders will be vitally important. You can also assess the type of stakeholder by using the Mendelow's matrix model. Evidence from the scenario suggests that the employees are supportive of change. The bank should also welcome the acquisition by a large and well-established company such as Shoal PLC. Then it says Shoal PLC will have to clarify target market and re-establish the Captain Haddock's brand. There is evidence that the company has unsuccessfully diversified into new marketplaces which did not deliver profits. The company has to get back to basics and re-establish itself in its traditional marketplace. Captain Haddock will need to be refocused on core activities and products. It may be possible to dispose of the land bought from investment. Clarifying the target market provides the opportunity to discontinue the product or services that are not focused on these markets. I'm again letting you guys know you can write any 4 points out of these, and if you have written any 4 points out of the 7 points that I've showcased you, you'll be gaining full marks. Financial restructuring of Captain Haddock's is necessary and is part of the capability that Shoal PLC will bring to the company. Evidence suggests that Captain Haddock should be delivering gross profits of about $100 million per year, so making the $15 million investment a relatively modest outlay. Shoal PLC will need to prioritize critical improvement areas, delivering quick and significant improvements. Finally, Shoal PLC need to be aware that the successful turnaround strategy should focus on getting the existing business rights rather than quickly diversifying into the new markets and business. So this was one of the bestest written answers. Obviously, if you can write even 60%, or if you have written even 60% of the answer that I have written in front of you, you will be gaining some good marks and may also go for the nationwide or worldwide position. So my request to you now is that there is another question that I would like you all to solve, and that question, let me show you the question. That question is the Lowland Bank and Harmon process strategy, project management. I would request you to please go through this question and make sure that once you have gone through this question, you will have a greater insight of how this question is being written, and write the answer to this question, and then we'll be moving forward with the other part. Now I am ending this innovation and change management, and in our next class I will be going through the governance areas and the next part of the topic, and we will be coming to an end of the SBL examination theoretical area. And after the completion of the entire theoretical area, within around 8 to 10 more classes, I will be going through the SBL past papers, and those past papers will be completed by my own self. I'll be giving you my answers in the recorded lectures. We'll also be having some live classes in between so that I can facilitate you in this regard. So till then, take care. Bye bye.